Well, good evening, everybody. It's Sandy Shellis, and I am here tonight. Let me fix this. Okay, so you can hear me. And hi, Gary. Gary's asking me if I'm feeling any better. Well, before I start the show tonight, that I have a pretty good show, and I think I'm a little bit too high on my seat. Okay, I have a pretty good show that I'm doing. And it's on, I'm going to use Yanis Varoufakis, and he is an interesting progressive from Greece. We're going to go over him and his article on progressives. I have a little video of him that we might start with so you can get comfortable with who he is. And I also have his Twitter page up. And you've been having a great chat. Well, I'm going to start with the bullshit that's been going on, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on myself. It's nice to see you, Rich, Diana, and Scott Mears and Gary Ballard, Ballard, Tennessee. I'm so happy, Gary, that you've joined our channel and following us. Now I met Gary on Nicole Sandler's show, and I wasn't late. And let's see, Humpty Dumpty. Hi, Sam. Listen, hopefully maybe next week. It's been horrible for me. I will tell you real quick. Let me tell you behind me the photography first. The photography is courtesy of Susan Fortier Photography, who is a friend of mine and who came this weekend to visit with her new beau, who is also a follower. And I'm not going to say his name. But anyway, she has a new beau. And she sent me some beautiful pictures. And it's great to have them. So hopefully some more people will join. I didn't share this on Facebook tonight. It's just on YouTube. I don't think anybody knew I was going to do this. But tonight, I will tell you I'm drinking licorice tea. No coffee. Licorice tea. Hi, David from New Zealand. How you doing? Hi. I will tell you the truth. I'm a sick person, and don't make the jokes about sick and, I suffer a lot of pain. I have a lot of pain-related conditions, which is pathetic. And I guess about 2 weeks ago it started. And I remember getting this diagnosis for fibromyalgia a long time ago, and I used to say, this is such bullshit. Whatever it is, and I didn't believe it. But then I couldn't understand why I used to get these bouts of fatigue and felt like I had the flu, but I didn't. And this time, this was a whammy. It was fibromyalgia flare-up with shingles. And my rheumatologist says I have recurrent shingles. So blah, blah, blah. Another story, pain, you get through everything. And I had a friend come over today named Debbie. And Debbie is a master gardener. Debbie teaches, she does teach the master gardening class at Cornell. And she came over today to visit. And she had wanted me to go to the farmer's market with her. And I couldn't do it this morning. I just didn't think, this week, literally, I had so much nerve pain. And I thought I broke my back. I thought every joint down there. I had so much nerve pain, I couldn't walk. That is the first time this shit has happened. So, I try to do everything as I can naturally. I use glutathione and elderberry and chaga from the mushrooms. I am I really watch things. But I'm sorry, I have to go the pharmaceutical route, and they put me on prednisone because I can't take it anymore, and it's starting to work. Nothing was working. Pain medicine, nothing. Guys, I thought I might have to hang it up. And I don't want to hang it up because there's a lot of me left. So with support and friends and shit, yeah, you know what? Rich Diana says his roof has shingles and he's worried about it. See the word worry? Well, stress conditions bring this on. We all have a lot of stress. 2020 is an incredibly stressful year for you, for me, for everyone. And oh my God, David McHugh, you are a hypnotherapist. Where are you? Can you do it online? um, anyway, 2020 is a terrible year for all of us. It's just been hellacious. And while I was going through all this, my modem took a shit. And I had to wait for a new SIM card. And I don't know. I have to see if I put the pictures in this thing. I am going to show you something that, oh, I hope it works. It should work. It's a screenshot. And I was complaining about the internet. And I'm really not bouncing around too much. I just want to show you these pictures of speed tests. I mean, insane things that were happening, stupid things. And I literally feel like, look at this. This is my speed tests. This is what I was getting in download speeds and upload speeds. And my modem was turning off all by itself. And I didn't get any signal. It was frustrating because I'm the one that runs the show for Jennifer and for Antonio and all. It's the base here. I have to have good internet to do this. I'm not about to hang it up, no matter how shitty I feel. So you look at those numbers and you could see how awful they were. And while, yes, I see wonderful collapse of society. Yeah, well, my modem's collapsed. Oh, and I got a thing from PayPal that says they're doing something. There was some kind of activity on my account, and I don't even use it that much. I mean, does it ever end? No. And so that was the bad stuff. That was look at the upload, but the upload speeds are horrible. That's why it takes me so freaking long to upload a video when I make it. It's insane. And it got a little better today because I did speed tests, and look at that. The download speed got up to 60 and my upload speed got it up to 6.13, but it had gone. Look at how it was in the beginning of the day when the new SIM card wasn't in. You can't upload. That's why one show I did, it was so horrible. It looks like I'm on an old 286. And I'm trying to look at the graphics on my phone, and it's not so bad. So maybe I fixed the problem. But another thing I did, and thank you, Osama, was I don't know if he's joined us, but I went around the house with the modem, and I found out that, how come I can't shut this stupid thing off? I found out that my tower is completely in the opposite direction of my home office. So it is in the living room where my elliptical is that I can't sell, that I can't use. Unfortunately, I would be on it if I wasn't so disabled in my lower spine, which has 3 back surgeries there. And it really stinks. And I can't move my office over there, right? So I left the modem plugged in over there where I have 3 and 4 bars and no connection to this laptop in my office, and it seems to be doing the trick. I wish that Osama was with us because I would love to thank him. Sam, what did you say? The PayPal skit? Oh, shit is a scam. Do not pay any attention to it, darling. Okay. Well, I logged in to find out. I logged into my account, but not through the email they sent. I logged into my account. There is an issue. But I don't know what it is. I'll find out what it is. I don't have to do this like tomorrow, but it's just one more thing. And then, another thing, and I don't want to bitch, but I have a very needy husband and the man always needs some help with everything. And that's just the way it is. And he hates his job. So when you listen to somebody complain about their job, but they can't quit because our health insurance is $800 a month, and without that job, we couldn't live. Well, we couldn't have health insurance. I can't lose my health insurance. I mean, these are things, though, when you listen to my story, how different is it from so many others? I'm not unique. I'm not special. I am just in a situation that really sucks. It really does. It sucks. But I'm on here today, and a lot of people don't have a voice like I have. But I'm going to do. Thank you, David. I will email you. David has said I should email him. I'm going to email you. And I have another new friend too. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm really happy. And I'll be talking to him also. And he shares some of my pain. So I think it's going to be a good person to speak with. But I will say I called the meditation center and that's closest to me, which is a 35-minute drive. They do Qigong, which is for people like me. And I watched some Qigong videos, and I think that meditation and Qigong will be good for me. If any of you know about this, it's for people that I can't do yoga anymore. And I used to go to yoga class. I used to work out, but I mean, I was a really good fit person, which I am not now. And Qigong is more movements, more fluid movements, no bending where your back hurts like that. And I think it's going to be beneficial for me, and also to learn how to really meditate. So if this meditation center, if you don't have to wear a mask, I don't know what's going on. I am so sick of the mask issue. I am so sick of gun issue. I am so sick of politics and hearing Donald Trump's name and all the fucking news cycle that is constantly going around and around. Oh, it just, who isn't sick? I can imagine that the antidepressant use in this country, of one I am not taking, is quite high. And excuse me, I do this because I have dry mouth from another illness. Thank God for Debbie today. And I'm an atheist. But Debbie came and helped me. We got the last of the butternut squash. There's going to be a freeze tonight, so we transplanted the lettuce up to the deck, which I covered because I'm still eating off my deck. We got all the green tomatoes out, which, please help me feel better. I have to feel better because I need to make salsa. I've made 30 jars of tomato sauce. I was supposed to bake a pie. Sad to hear about Robin. What happened to Robin? Robin, what's his name? That does the show with Margot? Robin from New Zealand? What's the matter? Robin who? I just read that. So what are you saying, Boyd? The same day, another man in a group threw a fit when he was told he had to wear a mask, Nugent said. Another couple just left the store when informed of the mask requirement. I'm just tired of it. I don't want to debate it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't go out much, and I just wear the fucking thing when I go in the store. And so half the people don't, around here, and I'm in New York. But anyway, I got KN95s that are certified from the pharmaceutical company that produced them. So I'm not going to, Oh, it's Robin, Keith's wife. Oh my God, I am so sorry. Keith Boyd, your beautiful wife, Robin, will you please send her all of my love? Keith, you followed us for so long. I forgot. I thought it was something was wrong with Robin Seymour rocks in his head. I'm so sorry, Keith. We all send so much love to you. Okay? And there was one thing I wanted to do today, and shit. Oh, here they are. I didn't add the sound. Remember we were talking last time, and I was going to get some sound effects. I don't have a clue how they're going to work. If I could find a nice sound effect, that would be something that would be a a sound effect for Robin, but I don't know. I don't want to be offensive here. I took a whole bunch of stuff and let's hear one. Can you hear it? Ooh, I'm sending my love to Robin. Okay. All right, Robin. I love you. And I don't know you, but you're married to Keith, and he's terrific. Okay, so I've gone 16 minutes of my own blather and talking to you guys. Hi, Karen Peterson. Karen, I hope I see you. I hope I'm feeling good. Holy shit, I went from not being able to walk to going in the garden with Debbie today, so this is cool. And if I have the energy after this and I edit it, I'm going to see if I can bake a pie. I don't know. I promised my husband I never made it. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, they broke up the militia plan to kidnap your governor in Michigan. It is Mad Max. What it is it's American ISIS and the beginning of Sharia law, Christian Sharia law in the United States. Don't think it's not. If anybody watched that debate last night, I did. I subjected myself to the debate because I really wanted to see how Kamala did. Kamala Mamala. Mike Pence and The Fly took it from me. The Fly was the epic part of the whole thing because, and I heard Kevin today saying kind of, I don't know, putting down the people that were making the funnies of, I don't know what he was doing, but I thought it was hysterical because flies know right where they were landing. And flies never land on me. I guess I'm not shit. Void says, right wing complains about whiners, but then freaks out about face freedom. U.S. fascist idiot genocide cult, 200,000 preventable deaths. Yeah, thanks. We do have, Sky Prince. Hi, Sandy. Long time no see. This is great. Before I get into business, because I do have business, but I'm really enjoying that you're here. Gosh, I can't believe David. He specialized in treating what's OOS and fibromyalgia and got people to work in under 12 months. I will never go back to human resources. I have a plan, and I am going to do it right from home. And it's called Learning to Make Videos. And I'm making videos, and I am going to take courses in the same. Where's Sam? Are you still here, Sam? I got to hook up with Sam, too. Before, yeah, you feel for Americans with all that's going on, you are having a tough, well, hell yeah. I mean, it seems like we're going to be into the we don't have any good choices. And last night, I realized something with this fracking bullshit. Fracking's going. I don't care what they say to get those states on their side. Fracking is going. And we are already planning here to start a movement to ban fracking and keep it banned in New York, but what they have to do is make it illegal. But there are activist groups already working, and okay, Sam's stuffing his face with a BLT. Enjoy it. I've got a vegan BLT, no bacon, waiting in the fridge, but my tomatoes and my greens are spinach, and I'm trying to be healthy. I don't know. I'm like not fit, but what are you going to do? You're having your elections in New Zealand? Oh, you're so awesome. Hey, IPCC said we need to massively reduce gas use under 2030. Well, we've got to, I think his name is Carl, we've got to, it's going to have to be a pressure thing. And down ticket elect all the blues. You'll have to elect all of the progressives. And there are a lot of cool progressives running. So, hi, unapologetic vegan. Kim, you said, yeah, it's Carl. Uh huh. All right. Anything else I want to put up before I start? Oh, occupational overuse syndrome. Well, I don't think I had occupational overuse syndrome. I was an HR director, so I did a lot of sitting. I did a lot of traveling. I think, oh, really? We'll talk, David. Sounds like you're going to be a good person to talk to. Uh, Environmental Coffee House. Hey, Sandy, check out the song The Fly by the Founders Sing. They did it already. Oh, my God. Well, maybe I can download it really quickly. Oh, no, I can't because I can't play anything from YouTube. You guys can't hear it. All right, I'm going to play this little clip of this guy. And you probably know him. And, yeah, you're right, Gary. It's a ridiculous idea. But here we are going on 20 minutes, and I haven't gotten into any meat and potatoes. So, well, I'm going to put on one more comment because Ed's saying the IPCC report from a month ago said high emission standard that will hit 1.5 by 2030. That's 0.4 in C in 9 years. It ignores positive feedbacks, methane, and aerosols. Oh, we know that. Boy, Jennifer and I know this, and we talk about this. Oh, Lord. Yes, fracking is scraping the bottom of the barrel. It just sucks. But I want to read you this. I want to play this video. So hang tight so I can stand up and stretch and do some Qigong and learn who he is.
Every major challenge humanity faces, from climate change and unbearable inequality to unpayable debts and involuntary migration, are global problems in need of international solutions. And this is our conundrum. Never before have we needed global governance more, at a time when many see the United Nations as dysfunctional, including good people working at the United Nations. Clearly, we and the governments claiming to represent us have a duty. We have a duty to reimagine new international institutions capable of addressing these multiple challenges. The only time humanity created global institutions that made a significant difference to people's everyday lives was after a global catastrophe in the 1940s. I hope and trust we do not need another catastrophe for us to unite against the oligarchy without frontiers, raiding and robbing today's youth of their future. What kind of every major challenge humanity faces, from climate change and unbearable inequality to unpayable debts and involuntary migration, are global problems in need of international solutions. And this is our conundrum. Never before have we needed global governance more, at a time when many see the United Nations as dysfunctional, including good people working at the United Nations. Clearly, we and the governments claiming to represent us have a duty. We have a duty to reimagine new international institutions capable of addressing these multiple challenges. The only time humanity created global institutions that made a significant difference to people's everyday lives was after a global catastrophe in the 1940s. I hope and trust we do not need another catastrophe for us to unite against the oligarchy without frontiers, raiding and robbing today's youth of their future. What kind of every major challenge humanity faces, from climate change and unbearable inequality to unpayable debts and involuntary migration, are
all right, I'm back. So that is our friend Yanis. And yes, Karen, for sure. We've been Misty to, yeah, I know a lot of you know who he is. Hi, Dan Marceau. And let's see, Kate's here too. Where are you, Kate? Hi, Kameshwari Kate. The one guy, Basil Peterson, is all about Yanis, right, Karen? That's cool. Okay, so I want to go into the article, and before I go into the article, let's see if we. I'm playing sound effects. I'm trying to make the show more interesting, but this might be good. Let's hear this one. I downloaded a bunch of them today. Okay, so I do have one little picture. I think it's here. Something cute before I start reading about how fucked up the world is. It's a cutie. Okay. All right, let me get him down. That was cute. The dog. You know how dog is. But okay, here we go. This is the newest article, and I'm going to pull this up. First, I'm going to show you his the hell is that? His YouTube Twitter. Basil says, "Yes, I love Yanis. I love Yanis. I can't get you into the broadcast. But like Aristotle, I know that any democracy that uses a market-based economy will devolve into monopoly, oligarchy, and eventually tyranny. So basically, Basil, there will never be anything. I mean, it might be self-evident, but we're going to go there anyway. He's pretty cool, and here's his Twitter, and he's in Greece. He's really cool. I mean, I just really like him. Now, I can't play a video from here because I know if I put on you can't hear this. I can. Tell me if you can hear it. I don't think you can. So I'm going to shut it off because you can't hear it. I haven't figured out how to fix that one yet. So here's his Twitter. Very interesting stuff. He's extremely bright, and I enjoy him. So this first article here, it's new, and we're going to go through this in, I'm in 28 minutes, so what the hell? Let's go for it. How progressives could still win the 21st century. And are you with us? Oh, hi, Paul. How you doing? Is Sam still with us? Paul, I am so happy to see you. Paul is my Twitter buddy. Andy, politicians are unqualified careerists. They're a lot more than that. All right, so let's go on this one. And I'm going to put you guys aside on the chat and close it up for a minute so I can start working on this. And I had put this in. Our era will be remembered for the triumphant march of authoritarianism, in whose wake the vast majority of humanity have experienced unnecessary hardship, and the planet's ecosystem has suffered avoidable climate destruction. For a brief period, I don't know if I turned my lights on. Oh, I didn't turn my lights on. Look at that. For a brief period, the British historian Eric Hobsbawm described as the short 20th century, establishment forces were united in dealing with challenges to their authority. It was a rare period in which the establishment had to face a variety of progressives, all seeking to change the world: social democrats, communists, self-management experiments, national liberation movements in Africa and Asia, the early radical ecologists. And the early radical ecologists, I'm just wondering how my voice is. That's all. If I'm sounding okay. I grew up in the mid-1960s in Greece, governed by a right-wing dictatorship. Oh, right-wing dictatorship that was instigated by the United States under Lyndon Johnson, whose administration was one of the most progressive domestically, but which nonetheless did not hesitate to prop up fascists in Greece or carpet bomb Vietnam. The fear and loathing of right-wing population that can be found was simply absent back then. Now that's a picture. That's in 2002. Look at that. Things changed after 2008, the year the Western financial system imploded. Following 25 years of financialization, you can read more in Ann Pettifor's piece on global financial system under the ideological cloak of neoliberalism. Global capitalism. Okay, I lost my place. Global capitalism had a 1929-like spasm, and that nearly brought it to its knees. The immediate reaction to this crisis, intended to prop up financial institutions and markets, was to turn on the central bank's printing processes and to transfer bank losses to the working middle classes via so-called bailouts. The combination of socialism for a few and stringent austerity for the masses did two things. First, it depressed real investment globally, as firms could see that the masses had little to spend on new goods and services, producing discontent among the many, while the very few received huge doses of liquidity. Secondly, it gave rise to progressive uprisings from the indignados in Spain and the agonaktasmini in Greece to occupy Wall Street and various left-wing forces in Latin America. These movements, however, were relatively short-lived, and they were efficiently dealt with either by the establishment directly, the crushing of Greek Spring in 2015, for example, boo, or indirectly leftist American governments fading as Chinese demand for their exports collapsed. As progressive causes were snuffed out one by one, the discontent of the masses had to find a political expression. Mimicking the rise of Mussolini in Italy, who promised to look after the weakest and make them feel proud to be Italian again, we've witnessed the rise of what we call the nationalist international, most clearly expressed in the rightist arguments fueling Great Britain's exit from the European Union and the election successes of right-wing nationalists like Donald Trump in the United States, Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, Narendra Modi in India, Marine Le Pen in France, Matteo Salvini in Italy, and Viktor Orban in Hungary. This is exactly what's been happening, and he's articulating it extremely well. The clash between the liberal establishment and the nationalist international was utterly illusionary. As for the for the first time since the Second World War, the great political clash has shifted between the establishment and assorted progressives to one between different parts of the establishment, one part appearing as the stalwarts of liberal democracy, the other as representatives of illiberal democracy. Now, of course, this clash has been between the liberal establishment and the nationalist international was utterly illusionary. In France, the centrist Macron needed the threat of far-right nationalism under Le Pen, without whom he would never be president. And Le Pen needed Macron and the liberal establishment's austerity policies that generated the discontent that fed her campaigns. Similarly, in the United States, where the policies of the Clintons and the Obamas that bailed out Wall Street fueled the discontent that gave rise to Donald Trump, whose rise in a never-ending circle shored up Clinton and Biden's defenses against someone like Bernie Sanders. And let me find one for that. A Bernie Sanders. Let's hear this. Nope, that's not going to work for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, there you go. It was a reinforcement mechanism between the establishment and the so-called populists that has replicated across the world. Nevertheless, the fact that the liberal establishment and the nationalist international are, in reality, codependent does not mean that the cultural and personal clash, despite the lack of any real policy difference between them, made it next to impossible for progressives to be heard over the cacophony caused by the clashing variants of authoritarianism. This is exactly why we need a progressive international, an international movement of progressives to counter the fake opposition between those two variations of globalized authoritarianism, the liberal establishment and the nationalist international, which trap us in a business-as-usual agenda that destroys life prospects and it wastes opportunities to end climate change. The question is, what would a progressive international do? And to what purpose? And by what means? If our progressive international simply creates a space for open discussion in city squares, as Occupy Wall Street did a decade ago, or just seeks to emulate efforts such as the World Social Forum, it will again eventually fizzle out. Let's see if the fizzle out here's. It's going to, fizzle out. To succeed, we will need a common plan of action and an uncommon campaign strategy to energize progressives around the world to implement the plan. Last but not least, we'll need a shared will to envision a post-capitalist society. Yeah, definitely. Allow me to unpack these three prerequisites at one time, and I'm just playing tonight. I probably won't end up doing this. Prerequisite number 1, a common progressive action plan. The fascists and the bankers have a common program. Whether you speak to a banker in Chile or to one in Switzerland, to a supporter of Trump in the U.S. or a Le Pen voter in France, you will hear the same narrative. Bankers will say that regulation and capital controls are detrimental to progress, that financial engineering increases the efficiency with which capital flows to the economy, that the private sector is always better at delivering services than the public sector, that minimum wages and trade unions impede growth, or that climate change can only be dealt with by the private sector. And I say bullshit too. For their part, the nationalist international narrative is as follows. Electrified border fences are essential for preserving for preserving national sovereignty. Migrants threaten local jobs and social cohesion. Muslims, in particular, cannot be integrated and need to be kept out. Foreigners conspire with local liberal elites to weaken the nation. Women must be encouraged to raise their children at home. LGBTQ and rights come at the expense of basic morality, and last but not least, give us the power to act in an authoritarian manner, and we shall make our country great and you great again. And I have to stop here because I think the clueless morons in the United States would love to have an authoritarian because they just follow blindly like sheep. And Trump is that clown and his whole administration of con men. I just had to add that. Just had to add it. So by rebalancing wages, trade at a planetary scale, both involuntary migration and involuntary unemployment will recede. Progressives also need shared narratives. Thankfully, we know what must be done. Power generation must shift massively from fossil fuels to renewables. Wind and solar primarily. Land transport must be electrified, while air transport and shipping must turn to new zero-carbon fuels, such as hydrogen. Meat production needs to diminish substantially with greater emphasis on organic crops and strict limits on physical growth from toxins to cement are of essence. And I will add one thing that he didn't mention, at least in that. Degrowth. The movement of degrowth is going to have to be taken seriously when catastrophic events keep happening and don't stop. Growing an economy is not going to fix climate change. That's my little 2 cents here. Okay, so we also know that this will cost at least 10% of global income, or nearly 10 trillion annually, a sum that can be easily mobilized as long as we are ready to create institutions that will coordinate the various works and redistribute the benefits from the global north and the global south. To accomplish this, we need something in the spirit of Franklin D. Roosevelt's original New Deal. A policy that succeeded because it inspired people who had given up hope that there are ways of pressing idle resources into public service. Our international Green New Deal will have to utilize transnational bond instruments and revenue-neutral carbon taxes so that money raised from taxing diesel can be returned to the poorest of citizens relying on diesel cars in order to strengthen them generally and also allow them to buy an electric car. To plow through these resources into green investments, a new organization for emergency environmental cooperation, it's necessary to pool the brainpower of the international scientific community into something like a Green Manhattan Project, one that aims, instead of mass murder, at extending extinction. Even more ambitiously, our common plan must include an international money clearing union of the type John Maynard Keynes suggested during the Bretton Woods Conference of 1944, featuring well-designed restriction on capital movements. By rebalancing wages, trade, and finance at a planetary scale, both involuntary migration and involuntary employment, it will recede, thus ending the moral panic over the human right to move freely about the planet. Look at that picture. 2002. Okay. With this prerequisite too, without this, our common plan, the International Green New Deal, will stay on the drawing table. So here's a campaign idea. Let's identify multinational companies that abuse workers locally and target them globally, utilizing the great disparity between the cost to participants of, for example, boycotting Amazon for a day and the cost of such boycotts to targeted firms. How about a day, a week, a month? Global consumer boycotts are not new, but now using the platform of mega firms like Amazon against them, they can be far more effective, especially in a second phase They are combined with local strike action involving the relevant trade unions. Such global action in support of local workers or community has immense scope. With some clever communication and planning, they can become a popular way around the world and share a feeling that they are helping to make a world a freer, fairer place. Is it hopium? I told you, it's not going to stop. This is a good way. I would rather see this than the things that are being talked about here. Totally. Of course, to make this happen, our Progressive International requires a nimble international organization. The problem with organizations that are capable of global coordination is that they surreptitiously reproduce within them bureaucracies, exclusion, and power games. How can we prevent neoliberalism and authoritarian nationalism from wrecking the world without creating our very own variety of authoritarianism? Granted, it is harder to find the right to answer to this question as progressives who reject hierarchies, bureaucracies, and the encroachment of paternalism. But we have a duty to find it nonetheless. Prerequisite 3. A shared vision of post-capitalism. Consider what happened on 12th of August 2020. The news broke that the British economy had suffered its greatest slump ever. The London stock market exchange jumped by more than 2% up. Nothing comparable had ever occurred. Similar developments unfolded on Wall Street in the United States. In essence, when COVID-19 met the gargantuan bubble with which governments and central banks have been zombifying corporations and financial institutions since 2008, financial markets finally decoupled from the underlying capitalist economy. And this is good. I like it. The result of developments is that capitalism has already begun to evolve into a type of technologically advanced feudalism. You know, he articulates the things I think about and I don't articulate like this. It is what it is. I'd like to get him to be a guest on the show. The result of these remarkable developments is that capitalism has already begun to evolve into the type of technologically advanced feudalism. I read it again, so you don't forget. Neoliberalism is now what Marxism, Leninism used to be during the Soviet 1980s. An ideology utterly at odds, even with the regime invoking it. Following the collapse of the Soviet bloc in 1991 and of financialized capitalism in 2008, we are well into a new phase in which capitalism is dying and socialism is refusing to be born. If I am right in this, even progressives who still entertain hopes of reforming or civilizing capitalism must consider the possibility that we must look beyond capitalism. Indeed, that we must plan for a post-capitalist civilization. The problem is that, as my great friend Slavoj Zizek has pointed out, most people find it easier to imagine the end of the world instead of the end of capitalism. To counter this failure of our collective imagination, in a recent book entitled Another Now, Dispatches from an Alternative Present, read about this read about it in his recently published book, Another Now, Dispatches from an Alternative Present. He tries to imagine that my generation had not missed every pivotal moment history presented us with. What if we had seized the 2008 moment to stage a peaceful, high tech revolution that led to a post-capitalist economic democracy, what would it be like? To be desirable, it would feature markets for goods and services, since the alternative, a Soviet-type rationing system that vests arbitrary power in the ugliest of bureaucrats, is too dreary for words. But to be crisis-proof, there is one market that we cannot afford to preserve: the labor market. Why? Because once labor time has a rental price, the market mechanism, it inexorably pushes it down while commodifying every aspect of work. And in the age of Facebook, even our leisure time. The greater the system's success in doing this, the less the average value of each unit of output it generates. The lower the average profit rate, and ultimately nearer the next systemic crisis. Can an advanced economy function without labor markets? Of course it can. Consider the principle of one employee, one share, one vote. Amending corporate law so as to turn every employee into an equal, though not equally remunerated, partner via granting them a non-tradable one-person, one-share vote is as unimaginably radical today as the universal suffrage used to be in the 19th century. I gotta move back for a minute. If, in addition to this pivotal transformation of company ownership, central banks were to provide every adult with a free bank account, a post-capitalist market economy would be delivered. With share markets gone, debt leverage linked to mergers and acquisitions would also become a thing of the past. Goldman and Sachs and the financial markets oppressing humanity will suddenly become extinct without even the need to ban them. Freed from corporate power, unshackled from the indignity imposed upon the needy by the welfare state, and liberated from the tyranny of the profits versus wages tug-of-war, persons and communities can begin to imagine new ways of deploying their talents and creativity. We are at a fork in the road. Post-capitalism is underway, albeit on a path to dystopia. Only a progressive international can help humanity alter this path. And these pictures were in 2002. 500 participants were given shovels and asked to form a single line of the outskirts of Peru. Their task was to push a 1,600-foot long sand dune forward by about 4 inches from its original position. Their efforts captured for film entitled "When Faith Moves Mountains" by artist Francis Elise. Wow, that is really cool. I think this was an excellent article. I saw it today and I thought, if I get my internet working and I feel better, and does it look like it's a good connection? As you know, do I look like I'm on a 286? I don't know, but that was good. Let's see your comments. Let me turn on the comments. I've missed you. I hope you guys have liked this. Please like the page and subscribe if you're not. Just like the page. We're not monetized, and I'm not asking for a fundraiser yet. If I can fix these problems on my own. A microcell would be a very nice addition to this, where I know that I would have the power pulled in from the tower, and my modem wouldn't, lose the connectivity like it was doing. And Osama, I took off the buffer bloat IQ router, and I'm testing to see my upload and download speed on that. So, Rich, you just gave Karen a hug. I want to give Karen a hug. Karen is my friend. I hope to see soon. Let's see. From the present looking at the future or the past is anxiety, neglecting the present. That's one to unpack. Try to. Let's see. Capitalism makes everything resources, which is wrong. Yeah. Wasn't this a good article? I'm telling you, he articulated how I feel, how I wish I could be. If I could be a mover and a shaker and be involved and not this disabled person, I would love to be in a transformation of the planet like that if we have time. I know as being called a doomer that we know that the end result really is the earth is dying. You know, he doesn't. Maybe he has a little bit of, hopium, but why not? We're not dead yet. And anything that is progressive and that would move this world away from the fascism and all of those names that he mentioned in the beginning of the article, these are people that are hastening the end of the world. Now, some of you, like Book Hermit, would cheer it on. And you want to see this happen. And I don't. Why would I? I don't hate people. I love animal species. The environment. We can't just say give up. And I like what I read. So I hope that you've had an enjoyable hour, and I have. Thank you for being endearing to me. Osama said I'm at 720p and not buffering, so yeah, better. Okay. Wow. If only I knew, a year ago that I should move the modem because the tower's behind my office. Basil said resources are our brothers and sisters. We must respect them. I respect them. It's hard. Everything's a resource that's being used. My cup, my licorice tea, everything. The wood that's in the backyard for the fire, for the winter, to keep us warm. It's all. It's all. Good night, my friends, and peace out. And I love you too. I love you too. See you Sunday with Jennifer. Unless I like this enough to come back before then. But I don't know. Weekends are sacred. See you Sunday.